Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Now update 1.27 is here and it's a bit of a strange one. So what I'm going to do is the usual kind of reading of the patch notes for you guys that might not be able to kind of look into it or, you know, find them online anyway. And then I will just kind of discuss after a little bit of something about this update, because it's a kind of weird situation where Polyphony last minute have actually pulled something from an update to save it for a later update, which is really kind of strange. I don't think they've actually done this in terms of GT7 so far. You know, I know we've had some disappointing updates, but it's never had anything really ready to go and then been pulled last minute and left aside for another update. They've never usually done that. It's usually the update is kind of, I guess, ready to go and they just keep it as it is. They've never took anything out. So let's go on to the patch notes first. So, a new update for Gran Turismo 7 has been released. The following is a list of main features and adjustments introduced. So, we have main features implemented, which is number one, the cars. So we knew what these were. They were correctly predicted and kind of data mined, or kind of, I guess, found before the actual trailer came along. So like I said in my video the other day, it's the Alfa Romeo Giulia GT AM 20, the Bugatti Chiron 2016, the Chevrolet Corvette C8 Stingray 2020, the Ferrari VGT, and the Toyota Celica GT4 Rally Car ST205 from 1995, which is purchasable from the Legends dealer from today, so you can go and get it. Now, in terms of pricing, the update is actually live a bit earlier, so I have got all the cars and they're all ready to be kind of looked into and stuff. The pricing for the Alfa Romeo, I believe, is about 250,000 or 200,000, something like that. The Bugatti Chiron is the most expensive one. I believe that's 3 million. The Chevy C8 Stingray is about 85,000 credits, so very, very good price, to be honest. The Ferrari VGT is actually not in there for the early access just yet. I will explain a little bit more about that in the rest of the patch notes. So essentially, if you got the question right, I'm assuming that will come through as a gift a little bit later on, kind of like how your, I guess, payout gifts came along around about 10 to 12 kind of AM into PM, you know, well, my time anyway. So it'll be in a few hours time. It'll probably come through as a little reward ticket and you'll get it from there. It's actually not fully available for people that didn't take part in the viewers' questions until the 23rd of December. So again, I did mention that yesterday, and that's pretty much spot on. So again, a little bit later, just before Christmas Eve, I guess, so the day before Christmas Eve, the Ferrari VGT will be in the brand dealership for everybody. But early access will be given today, probably in a few hours time. So by the time you probably come around to jump in on the game, it might already be there for you. It's not there for me currently. The Toyota Celica, by the way, I believe that's about 200,000 or 250,000 from the Legends dealer. Very cheap price, very legendary rally car that. I'm very excited to jump into that one. So there's your kind of pricing. That's kind of, you know, also explaining about the Ferrari VGT. Then we have the cafe menu. The following 2 extra menus have been added. Straight 6 BMWs, collector level 37 and above, and extra menu number 15, which is Bugatti, which is collector level 43 and above. So there's no actual proper new cafe menu yet again with this one, so don't expect kind of a new menu to go through, a full cafe menu to go through. There's nothing like that. World circuits, so these are the events. We have Nürburgring European Clubman Cup 600, Mount Panorama, which is Bathurst, American Clubman 700, and Monza Hypercar Parade, and that is it. So only 3 events. So this is what I mean by kind of things being pulled last minute. Very kind of car focused this update. Escapes Norway has been added, and then we've kind of got other improvements and adjustments. Multiplayer, fix an issue where quitting the race might affect your ratings, would be incorrectly displayed when leaving a lobby. Fix an issue wherein repeatedly racing without leaving the room in lobby would cause the game's performance to drop. Steering controllers, fix an issue wherein fitting the BMW M2 competition which was in the previous update, with a fully customizable manual transmission, will cause the clutch pedal on steering controllers to stop responding. Sound fixed an issue where the sound of the player's own engine would not display correctly. Thank God for that, because I suffered from that one and a lot of other people got that glitch. It was very, very frustrating. If you kind of know, you know, it was just kind of a bunch of wind sounds. It was very weird. For others, various other issues has been addressed, and that is it for the patch notes. Very, very short, straight to the point, and like I said, the update seems to focus just around the cards. There's not much to this update. Okay, so cut content time. Now, what I mean by this is essentially they plan to put something in, and last minute they've done a bit of a U-turn and kind of said, okay, we're going to leave that out for another update, which is a little bit weird considering it was kind of hyped up as something specials under the tree. Yes, we got 5 really good cars, to be honest. This is probably the best update in terms of cars, but in terms of events, it's just very, very poor. And in fact, to be honest, it's just a bit disappointing that they'd actually kind of do this. Now, essentially what this hints at is we're kind of going back to the old way of updating, which means instead of just kind of releasing stuff when it's ready, they're essentially going to go back to probably a track layout every 2 months, and then a new track, and then again another 2 months track layout kind of thing. So with this update, and the files are in the game, I don't know if they still are now, I don't know if they've kind of just sort of took them away for a little bit, but essentially you could see the kind of placeholder file name. There was supposed to be 2 new layouts for the Nürburgring, one being the Sprint, so a short version of the Nürburgring, which is a weird one because mostly when the Nürburgring features in a game, especially the GP layout, it does have a Sprint version. There isn't in this game, which is kind of strange, but yeah, that was supposed to be coming, as well as the endurance layout, which unlike the 24-hour layout was essentially the Sprint with the ring attached to it. So it would have been just a bit of a different layout, just kind of implementing from the GP circuit side anyway, just the Sprint part with the actual full ring. So they were supposed to be coming in this update, and they haven't. So essentially what they've done is kind of took them away last minute, because according to Nenkai over on Twitter, there were supposed to be essentially 4 new events for this update as part of a set of 14. 13 will be the new events from 1.26. The European Clubman Cup was supposed to be on the endurance layout, whilst another kind of one, the Sunday Cup Classic event, was supposed to be on the Sprint layout. So that kind of hints that two events really were kind of taken away. And by what I mean is kind of 2 wasn't taken away, because only 1 was taken away. So let me explain. So the one that is in the game with this update should have realistically been on the endurance layout, not the kind of layout that it's on currently. And there was supposed to be an extra event, which was obviously the Sunday Cup Classic, which was supposed to take part on the Sprint layout. So obviously that's being held back for another update, and they kind of changed the layout that this event was going to go on. So instead of being on the endurance layout, it's on whichever layout it's actually on. Probably the GP layout. I've not really had a look at the events yet. I've only kind of, you know, dived into the cars and the extras menus. So yeah, just very kind of weird of Polyphony to do this. It's not usually something they do where they get something ready to go, kind of get it ready to go in the game, and then all of a sudden take it away and keep it for another update. Usually if we're getting a rubbish update or a kind of light on content update, it's because, well, you know, that's just what they had planned from the start. Like, there was actually supposed to be new track layouts coming to this update, and essentially they've just said, nope, we'll keep that for a little bit. So more than likely what will happen is they will probably come next month. Now that then takes us back into the kind of cycle that GT7 was having, which in my opinion is a little bit disappointing. Like I did say, usually what happened up until recently, when they kind of broke that cycle and we didn't have a track or even a layout for an extra month before Road Atlanta, usually what would happen was you'd get a track, and then you kind of get, a track layout, then you'd wait another 2 months, you get a full new track, then you wait another 2 months, get a track layout, wait another 2 months, track. So yeah, really kind of weird that they do this, but it kind of gets it back on that track. So if that's kind of the plan they're going with, that kind of makes sense, but it still feels weird that they'd kind of hype up a Christmas update and then again put very little in terms of events. Last minute change to one of the events, so we could have realistically only had 2 events if they had not changed the layout that the one of the events that came in this update was actually put on. Very kind of strange for them to do this. Don't get me wrong, the update is still pretty solid in terms of the actual car content, but the main thing we're all kind of crying out for at the minute is events, and there's very little of them. In fact, there's only 3 instead of the planned 4, which, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not saying that sprint events kind of be all or end all, but again, just kind of not having it there is a little touch disappointing. It's at least something new, and even having new track layouts, although they're not kind of a major thing because they're on a track that's been in the game for ages, and they don't really change too much up. Essentially, you know, kind of there was, I guess, more reason to hype up the likes of the Barcelona layouts because we had the rallycross track come in. But yeah, just seems very weird that they wouldn't just kind of put it in now. So I think if they do end up coming next update, it's going to be a bit like meh, you know, kind of thing. It would have been cool to have it so soon after having Road Atlanta, but the fact that they've kind of just done a U-turn and essentially decided to keep it from us is just a bit of a strange one, to be honest. It's not very Christmas-like, is it? But, you know, yeah, it's just weird that they've kind of done this. Like I said, overall, what do you think of the update? Me, personally, I absolutely love the cars. Like I said, that was kind of the main thing for this update. As you can see, there's not really much else to it. There's not too much for me to cover. So yeah, I mean, I'll continue doing update 1.27 probably over the next week or so. So later on today, basically expect me to kind of cover the gameplay side of things, the events and stuff, and then essentially after, you know, the days after, expect me to review the cars, get some builds going on some of the cars, and then we'll kind of just take it from there. You know, it'll bring us towards the end of the year. It does, I guess, in a way, give me time to focus on my other projects, you know, for like my league and stuff like that, which is quite nice, and it allows me to kind of, I guess, slow things down for Christmas. Look, it's been a hectic year, and I kind of just want to slow things down for Christmas and the new year, and then in January come back fighting again and carry on this push, because it's been a great year. Thank you so much. That's the end of the updates for 2022 for GT7. What do you think? Has it been good? Has it been disappointing? Personally, I'm more happy going out of this year than I was kind of in the middle of the year. So, you know, that's just my opinion. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Keep tuned for everything for update 1.27 from GT7, and I will see you all later on. Take care, guys. Peace.